Hey guys, Mr. Marcus here, and as you can see, we're back with the Tottenham Hotspur Master League, if you didn't already know from the title of the video. And in today's episode, we actually have two matches for you, but we do have a big chunk in the middle, which is all transfers, because of course we're getting into January now. This is the last match of December, and the next match, of course, well, the next stuff would be all transfer stuff, and then we have another match against Newcastle in the FA Cup. So in this first match, it is in the Barclays Premier League against Newcastle. And of course, getting to match day 19. So of course, we're getting to the halfway point of the season. So we're getting actually to the halfway point of this particular season in my Master League series, if you sort of know what I mean. So with that being said, in the second minute of this match, it was the most ridiculous match I've ever faced against an opposition. Which, like, with Newcastle, I was expecting some form of resistance, and it didn't really come at all. As you see here in the 4th minute of the match, Eriksen just runs past about 5 players. I mean, I know there's a foul off the ball by Benzema taking out someone. I think it was Williamson, but yeah, it just ridiculous. So it was just a ridiculous game. Like I scored a really nice goal for Eriksen, and then the 13th minute of the match, they run down this right hand side, like a pretty decent job. They get a cross in, and to be honest, I don't know what Wilson was doing, as for some reason they decided not to defend properly. Koki picks up the ball and just runs past 2 or 3 players. Like, I had so much confidence in my team at this point, and I don't know why, because I mean, my team, I know we're top of the table and we're unbeaten as well, so of course we're going to have some form of confidence, but it was just ridiculous how much confidence I actually did have. I see here in the 18th minute of the match, Benzema again gets through on goal, gets a strike away, and he scores his goal to give us a 2-0 lead going about 20 minutes into the game, which was just ridiculous considering that, like, we've been struggling to score some goals recently, and in this particular match, like within like the first half an hour of the match, we were basically 2-0 up. And then coming up to the 31st minute of the match here, El Shaarawy on the ball runs past 2 players, gets a strike away, and again he hits it wide when he probably should be scoring there. But I mean, I was happy with El Shaarawy's performance so far, and like, just in general, he's been ridiculously good. As you see here, they did have 5 shots, 4 on target. I was never going to show you all the shots in this game because there were just so many shots. 50th minute of the match, Benzema hits the crossbar with a header from a corner kick. Pretty decent result there. I mean, I probably should be scoring it, but I mean, I'm not scored from a corner kick in absolute ages. But in the 95th minute of the match here, El Shaarawy on the ball, sorry, crosses it in, comes to nothing. Holberg does pick it up, gets a strike away, again comes to nothing. Benzema tries to get a strike away, heads it down. It was actually an offside call from the referee, and a 2-0 win against Newcastle, which was relatively comfortable considering I was expecting a little bit more resistance, like I was saying. I mean, they did have 6 shots, 5 on target, and Hugo Lloris did get man of the match, but it didn't really come to anything from them getting all these shots on target. So yeah, so Arsenal won as well. Southampton also won. Actually, Southampton lost, and we finished the table at the halfway point, 9 points clear of Arsenal, 11 points clear of Chelsea, and 12 points clear of Southampton. Which is just ridiculous how good we're actually doing so far in this particular league. It's just ridiculous how good I'm actually doing. So, as you see here on the screen right now, we were just renewing contracts. We've renewed Hugo Lloris's, Stockdale's, Andros Townsend's, Patrice Evra's, Wilson's, Parker's, Osman's, and I think Pepe's, and we actually just refused renewal for Cal Naughton and Moussa Dembele. Now, Dembele is actually a pretty decent player. I do play him every once in a while. You don't really see it because I don't play him from the start. I just bring him on as a substitute, and he's a pretty good player to bring on as a sub when I'm winning a game, because he's good at keeping the ball and he's good at running with the ball as well. But I'd rather have a younger player. I mean, he's getting quite old. I think he's like 30 odd in the point. So I was like, yeah, I would rather not. So then I went into the free transfers just to see if there was anyone actually available to actually bother actually trying to get a transfer negotiation with. And of all people there was Gianluigi Buffon. His regen had been a free transfer. So, being rated 77 and knowing that he can be a rated 99 goalkeeper, I went out and got Gianluigi Buffon on a free transfer, and I also went out and bought D'Ambrosio on a free transfer. He's actually 29 years old in this particular game, but I really need a backup for Wilson at right back. I didn't have anyone else who could play there. I mean, Ayan can technically play there, but I really just wanted a good player who could play right back in comparison to someone who's like a centre back being shifted to the right. Of course, Eric Dyer can also play there, but I decided against that as well. So eventually I ended up getting both Gianluigi Buffon and D'Ambrosio. So a pretty decent result, getting some free agents in, considering I have like no money to spend on anyone, even though I do actually spend some money this episode in particular, because we were looking for another centre back, because I was looking at Yunus Kabul's stats, and Yunus Kabul had dropped dramatically. Now, when I say dramatically, technically it's drastically, it's the same goddamn saying. He had went from being a 77 rated player to a 75 rated player in like the 6 months, well not the 6 months, like the 4 months we've played in the season so far. And I was like, I don't really want a player who's just going to reduce my overall defending rank down. So I went out and looked for players, looking for players that I could actually spend some money on and actually make some, a player that would be willing to sit on the bench, just enjoy it, that I could get for like 1.5 million. So of course that was never going to happen. It was always going to be hard to find someone. So eventually I end up using it, looking for regens, and eventually I do actually find someone, and I do get him bought in by the end of the last episode, end of this episode. And that player would be Kolo Toure. Now, the reason I get Kolo Toure, I was trying to give him Dembele, I was trying to give him like some players along. They did actually want Dembele, I think it's Atlanta, and they wanted Dembele, and I was like, okay, that'll be okay, fine, go ahead, you can get Dembele if you want. But I wasn't willing to pay more than 800 grand for him, and, well, 900 grand for him. And it was a bit ridiculous, because of course you also have to pay half the transfer wages and all that sort of, half the season wages and all that sort of stuff. So it was getting a really hard trying to figure out all the maths in my head before doing it. And of course, sometimes the game will be like, you can't do that because you won't have any money left. So eventually I do figure it out. I end up giving, Yunus Kabul to them and getting Kolo Toure in return. As you see there, two of the players aren't the squad. That's just in, what's his name? That was just, Gianluigi Buffon and, what's his name? D'Ambrosio. So as you see here, eventually I do end up getting Kolo Toure. I do give them Yunus Kabul. I do give them, for some reason, went up to 900 grand, and I don't know why. But eventually it gets to the point where I do buy him. He will appear, he comes at the end of the episode. So, yeah. So into the second match and the last match of this episode, and again, was against Newcastle, but it was in the FA Cup. Now, in the FA Cup, one of you guys went, oh, it's so obvious you're going to win the FA Cup. Was it really obvious that I was going to win the FA Cup? So in this match, I played a lot of backup players. Like, I played Buffon in goal for his debut. I played Wilson, Terry, Dyer. I didn't even bother playing them either. I played Radicevic, Osman, Paulinho, Lamela, Townsend, Son, and D'Ambrosio plays at right back. Patrice Evra comes in at left back. So many players that were like under 18, under 20, playing big matches against Newcastle at the Bergstadion. And I was like, okay, this game should be okay. It's guaranteed I'm going to win the FA Cup, isn't it? So we played against Newcastle. They were playing their grey away strip. For some reason I decided to play in a grey away strip. Maybe that was what all went wrong. As we see here, a lot of the players were like a lot of young players, a lot of backup players who just decided to play for like the first time ever. And for some reason, Lamela, whenever I play him, he just plays absolutely terrible. In this particular match, he plays absolutely terrible. So the game kicked off as you'd expect, with us of course being at the supposed home side. And in the 25th minute of the match here, Osman on the ball runs past one of the players and gets fouled to hell, and the referee does not give a foul, and I was so pissed off with that happening. As we see here in the 27th minute of the match, from that foul, which he didn't give, this dude down the right hand side, Macbara, plays it into Riviere, whatever the hell, however you pronounce it. He scores a goal past Gianluigi Buffon to give them a 1-0 lead. And in the 31st minute of the match here, Andros Townsend on the ball runs past about 2 or 3 players. Like, Andros Townsend was doing what I usually do with El Shaarawy, runs past about 4 players, gets a strike away, really good save from Tim Krul, and for some reason Lamela just wouldn't run towards the ball and just hit it into the back of the net to give us a 1-0, to equalise. And like I was saying, this game was just an absolute pain to play, because for some reason Newcastle were just defending a lot and passing the ball about a lot, which is just ridiculous. Again, this time actually I was one dominating possession. Look at that, 65% possession, 35% possession from Newcastle. We both had 2 shots in the game. Literally, the game was so close. And in the last minutes of the match, they get through on goal. I sort of shouldn't have bothered to slide tackle, but I slide tackle with Ayan. I get a yellow card. Sissoko takes a penalty. He hits it right to the right. I went left, and they get a 2-0 lead. Now, for like the 20-odd minutes before that, I've been trying to bring on Karim Benzema, I've been trying to bring on some players, and for some reason the ball just would never go out of play. And eventually, we do get a penalty in the last minute. Stephen Taylor takes out a Son down the right-hand side. I am taking the penalty with Karim Benzema, and I hit it right down the middle, which Tim Krul easily saves. It just wasn't my day. You jinxed it, commenter. You jinxed it. You goddamn jinxed it. You thought it was going to be easy to win the FA Cup. And I end up getting knocked out by Newcastle. So, yeah, that was fun. So I got jinxed by a commenter. So, yeah, that's always interesting to see. And, yeah, so we end up losing the game 2-0. So we're out of the FA Cup. So now I can just focus on the Europa League and the Barclays Premier League. So I'm not really too bored by it. But, to be honest, we didn't do much in the game. There were 2 shots, 2 on target from us, 4 shots, 2 on target from them. I showed all the highlights. Good for Newcastle, got the man of the match. Arsenal went through. A lot of players, a lot of big teams went through. Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United, Everton, Southampton, I think Man City were the only teams left. And Oscar got the World Player of the Year, so he's the Ballon d'Or holder for 2017. Aguero and Messi were also there. World Manager of the Year went to Vincent, I think it's Vincenzo Montella, who is the Fiorentina manager. It makes sense, they did win the Champions League. And we end up getting in Kolo Touré. So, yeah, if you haven't enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for more, and catch you later.